now.
Okay.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Krista Danis. I'm the Events and Program Coordinator at the Aurora Public Library, and this is Cynthia Shababy, and this is Tea and Paint. So we're so happy you're here watching. Cynthia Shababy is a veteran art instructor specializing in step-by-step paintings for children and adults. In addition to developing art-based enrichment programs for local art studios, Cynthia has given private lessons for the past 5 years. She's also currently pursuing a BS in Legal Studies at Purdue Global University. So thank you so much for being here, Cynthia.
Thank you for having me, Krista. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you, and I'm going to share a photo of what we will be working on, and hopefully you'll get a grander view of what the end result should be. So
thank you so much.
Sure.
All right, so thank you for joining us today. We will be painting a sunset painting. As you can see the picture that's posted, it is beautiful, and I think the timing is perfect for a painting like this. I'll show you the color palette. The supplies listed were canvas, any size. This one is in particular is 11 by 14. For brushes, you'll be using a flat brush, round, and a smaller round for detailing for those palm trees. You'll also need paper towels for your brushes, as well as a water bowl. For a palette, you can either use a paper plate or a palette like this. These are the colors that you'll need to get onto your palette. I have white, black, blue, red, orange, purple. I have a light blue, but we can also create a light blue if you don't have it in one of the empty palettes here. Right? So we're going to go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, please stop, let us know. Krista will stop me and we'll go ahead and answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, Cynthia, I might kind of move in between screen sharing the photo and having you be the main screen.
Perfect, yes.
It's just going to kind of be, once in a while bounce back and forth so people have both views.
Excellent, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll first want to start with your flat brush. Okay, and the colors you're going to use. Oh, you can also do it landscape or portrait. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and do it this way here. So you're going to get a little bit of the yellow paint. And when you hold your paintbrush, you're going to hold it like a pencil, but perpendicular. And when you put the paint on the canvas, you don't have to press really hard. You're just kind of feathering the paint on there. Let me show you. So I'm going to start at the top. We're going to go all the way across with the yellow. We'll be streaking in some white as well. The painting has lots of different colors blended, and you'll see it all come together nicely. I'll let you know when to rinse your brush too. In this case, I still want some yellow on there. I'm going to go directly into the white paint without rinsing my brush and already start to kind of fan that in there. You want to create that sunset, beautiful effect at the top here. When we start to introduce other colors, for instance, the orange that will be next, we'll go right back into the color that we just painted. You want to make sure that none of the canvas does not show through on the background, that you have full coverage on your painting. You'll continue with the yellow till about right there, incorporating the yellow and the white. If the paint gets too thick for you, you could dip it in a little bit of water, your brush, and keep painting. And again, you want to incorporate some white, but without rinsing your brush, go straight into the white and feather that paint in. For this sunset painting, I have some mountains, a couple palm trees, the sunset, a bird. If you'd like to put a hammock in yours, tiki hut, you're more than welcome to. This is just a guide. I'm going to show you kind of close up what the colors look like with white and yellow. We're going to go into our next color now, which would be the orange, and I'm, without rinsing the brush, dip it in a little bit of the orange and start to incorporate that into the sunset here. And remember, you're going right back into the color that we just painted, which was the yellow. And back and forth. Going to go back in with a little bit of the yellow paint here. You can also use red and yellow and create your own orange, but it's going to get significantly darker. Right before the water line, I'm going to mark off right here. That's where our water line is going to be. We're actually going to go in with some deep purples as well. I'm just dipping my brush in a little bit of water to soften these lines. You just want to blend it all together here. You can even add a little bit of white to soften those colors. All right. You go in with a little bit of the straight orange here, because I'll introduce a little bit of the purple. So I want a darker orange at this point to blend with that purple. And if you don't have purple, you could mix red and blue. That'll give you exactly what you're looking for. Yeah, purple starts to come in there. You're creating that horizon line. And same process all the way across. You're going to go right back into that orange so you can blend those together. It's a really nice soft horizon. You want to have like a blurred look. And I've only added just a touch of water to my brush. I haven't rinsed it fully. And feather it back and forth. All right, get a little deeper purple here. We are going to add a sun, but we'll do that a little later. The sun will go directly in the center, but we're going to complete the background first. Okay, now rinse your brush. We're going to start to do the water. I have a light blue here. If you have light blue, you can use that one, or you can mix white with a touch of blue. Create the color you're looking for. All right, here's the color that I have here. And I'm going to go straight in, same process, back and forth, side to side here. And don't worry about blending into that purple because we're going to create some little further haze and some mountains in the water, a few more palm trees in the background. You do want to incorporate white as well. So without rinsing the brush, going in with some white here. And again, you want to make sure that the entire canvas is covered, that there is none of the canvas showing in the background. You're going to take the blue all the way to the bottom. We'll be painting some mountains there on each side. I have some darker blue as well. I want to create some low lights within the water. Just randomly streak that color in. And again, without rinsing your brush, pull that color all the way through. Creates a nice layered look. You want to create the image of reflection in the water here. I'm going to lighten it up. we have the basis of our background here. All right, I'm going to show this up close, and this completes our background. So we have the sunset, horizon, and water line. Okay. All right, next we're going to use that round brush right here. And we're going to start to create some mountain or some landforms at the bottom here, going across the water line, and eventually our palm trees. So again, you're going to hold it like a pencil, perpendicular. And it doesn't have to be any particular shape. What I did for this one, but nothing straight across. Give it some kind of texture and character, a lot of waves. It's almost hilly. And that's going to be your landmass there that your palm trees will sprout from. You want to make sure that the black is completely opaque and that none of the blue shows forth. Okay, so there's the first one. Second one, we're going to create off in the background here. Make that one a little bit higher. Use your pinky as an anchor. And it will get thinner as it extends towards the middle of the canvas. Okay, so there's your second landmass. All right. Now we're going to start on the palm tree itself. So go ahead and grab your thinner brush, the thinner round, and we're going to start with the two palm trees on this side right over here. Notice there's a little bit of an arch to the palm tree. We'll start with the trunk first. We'll fill it in a little bit, but I'm going to start the smaller one here as well. A little bit of an arch. Okay. You want to make sure, again, it's completely opaque. Thicker towards the bottom, but not too thick. Go ahead and start to fill it in. We'll add texture in a little bit. We'll just get the base of the trunk. And do the same for this side. And I like to kind of feather them, or go back and forth with the paint here at the bottom. All right, now we're going to start the leaves themselves for the palm. What I like to do is start with a little bit of a center dot right here in both. And what you'll do, this one has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 12 for the larger one. You could do more or less. But what I do first is I'll start to fan out. Almost like a starburst. Okay. That looks like. You can do some smaller ones here as well. You just want to leave enough room to create the actual palm leaf. And do the same for the smaller one. Okay. So that's what that looks like. I have the smaller detailing brush right here. And that's what we're going to use to create the little wispies on the palm leaves themselves. I'm going to do this up close here. Going in an outward motion like that. Almost like eyelashes. All the way across. I'm going to repeat that pattern on each side. all the way to the corner. You can fill them in as well. Want to make them larger. Any questions so far? Right. And you don't want to press the brush really hard. You want to be able to have almost a lift at the end. The light detail on these palms. Okay, so that's what it's starting to look like. And again, you want to make sure the canvas does not show through in the background. Make sure you have enough paint for coverage. Keep repeating this process. Just a little wisp, please. I'm going to add one right here. We're going to add some highlights and lowlights to the trunk, a little bit on the palm itself. Continue here on the small one, same process. You want them to kind of droop a little bit. Follow the same pattern as your original line on the palm. And it's okay if they overlap. I want to create kind of a fullness. We'll be creating 2 additional palms back here. And then we'll go in and start to work on our sun.
It's amazing how quickly that comes together and looks so beautiful.
It does come together really quick. And if you have a little bit of a blooper, like I did here, apparently I had some black paint, you can always go in with some blue and bandage it up. It's okay.
Never happened.
That's right. And the great thing about blending is if you do think you made a mistake, you can go right back in and fix it. Adding more paint, different colors. A little bit of white. I'm actually going to go over my trunk just to create, and I'll paint it black again. Just so it kind of blends together. Right. Going to use that original round that we used for the trunk. Go back in with some black and just repaint it.
And that's a good lesson too. Sorry to interrupt, but that, you know, making a little blooper like that is not an end to your
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. How to
just
fix
got rid of it completely. It was amazing.
There it is. So now it's gone.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and create those palms in the background. I'm going to use that small brush that we used to feather in these details here, with the leaves, because if you can see in the background, they're very small palm trees coming out from this landmass here. You can do 1, 2, if you want to do more, you could as well. But keep in mind, you're going to need to add with the leaves. Excellent. Add 2 here. Same process, just a little smaller scale. Center of the palm. And then we're going to grab that detailing brush to work on the palm leaves themselves. I'm going to hold this a little close here. Definitely smaller scale. But you still want to create that little bit of an arch for those, okay? You're looking just to create a silhouette. The leaves themselves will even look smaller. Just a very light feathering. Just so you can get some distinction with the actual separation of the leaves in the palm. It's not going to be as distinct as the other one because of the size. The most relaxing thing to do now is to paint. I think this is the perfect little getaway, as well as a sunset.
Yeah.
We could all be on an island right about now. Okay, you're just feathering those in. Okay, so that's what we have so far. All right, I'm going to go back to that medium round brush and create some highlights and lowlights on the trunks themselves. So what you'll do is go in with a little bit of white in your palette. You like to use one of the empty trays here, and just a touch of black. I want to create a little bit of a gray. I don't want to add stark white to the highlight. Okay, so we're mixing a little bit of gray. And even though, and then we'll start to work on the sun, even though the sun's right here, that means our highlights are going to be on the right side of the trees themselves. So you're just kind of going down the trunk with your light gray highlight. And it doesn't need to be a straight line down. You're just kind of picking it up, putting it on there sporadically. And the same for this other one here. I'm going to show you this up close, what it looks like. Just small details to add dimension and texture. I like to do that a little bit on the branches as well. Some of the highlights and lowlights. So just on random branches, I'm adding some of the gray paint. And even on the center, I'm actually just on the right side, almost like a reverse C is what I'm doing on the center portion, just so it'll show that light reflection from the sun. I want to put a little bit on the mountain as well. Down here, random spots, just to show that reflection. All right, let's do that on the other mountain as well, or landmass. I'll show you what that looks like up close, with a little bit of the highlights there. And just a touch on the trees. Okay. And if you feel you've added too much, go right back in with the black to darken it. All right. So our next step is going to be the sun. For that, you want a really clean brush, especially if you've used it for the black. If you need to change your water over now, that would be a good time to make sure you have a very clean brush, especially because we're going with the yellow. All right, so I have the round brush here, a little bit of yellow. I'm going to start that sun shape. I'm going to need to add some white to this. Actually, I'll go in with straight white and then cover it with some yellow, so I get a full coverage over that sunset. And just a nice arch. We're going to create some highlights and lowlights on the sun as well. We'll get that down here. Soften that line towards the water line. While that dries, we're actually going to put a couple more coats on it. But while it dries, we're going to add a few more details. In the water, I want to add a little bit more white streaks. Blue here. So lighter reflection right underneath the sun. You're just going side by side. A little bit of water. Fan that outwards, because this would be the lightest part of the water where the sun would be reflecting. Side. And little details to the water. It helps you create those highlights and lowlights. Okay, I'm going to show this up close, what it's looking like so far. Good. There's also a few birds in the sky. We can work on those. You're going to use that small detailing brush that we used to create the leaves for the palm. And you can create some birds flying. Use the black paint here. I'm going to create one right about here. Actually, create more than one over here as well. If you want to add any final touches on the landmass or the trees, now would be the time. I'm just going in with some black paint and creating some low lights here. If you want to sharpen that line here where the water is, you can do that as well. With straight black paint. All right, rinse your brush completely the round brush here. We're going to go back in with the yellow to kind of make this a little bit brighter here. The second layer. And we are just about complete. I recommend when you're painting, listen to music, your favorite, most relaxing music. It really helps creating. And again with the highlights, a little bit of white towards the edge. And to the side. All right, we are just about done here. Let me show you up close. Here we are. All right, are there any questions?
No, that's beautiful.
That's it. That's the painting.
That's amazing.
It comes together quickly.
Yeah, it really did. It
It
was
does.
like, ooh, that's fast.
Yes, it goes really fast.
Yeah. And it seems like it's something that, the way you explained it, at least, that anyone could do with minimal experience or a lot of experience.
Absolutely. It's a good starter painting. A lot of it is the blending, you know, and the layering and thinking of it in the background first and what's next and just step by step. Yeah, I taught beginners, people who've never painted before, and I just love the whole creative process. You know,
Yeah.
it's beautiful and it's therapeutic. I think so, at least.
I was thinking that just watching you, I was kind of lulled into like a, not sleepy at all, but like calming, you know. feel.
Yes, and that's exactly how I feel when I'm doing it. It's so calming and relaxing.
Yeah.
So I am so honored, Krista. Thank you so much for
Thank
having me.
Yeah.
I love it. So yes, I'm so glad we were able to do this.
Awesome. And we're honored to have you, and I can't wait to have you back in September. Hopefully we can, and it can be in person, and we can
Oh, I love it.
in the room. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Krista.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a great evening. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.